hopefully this won't take too long, but this is Civ the board game by a person who is named MarioFanaticXV, which of course is 15. Took the time of day to upload all this stuff. There are a few things, that don't work, but for the most part it's pretty good. Where's the, the culture tokens don't work. The 5 culture, the 1 does, the 5 doesn't. And then, for whatever reason, some of these wonders don't work. And then, he didn't put the 1 of 4. Well, he says it's 1 of 4. I don't see where the other tokens for this would be. They're not in here. They're not in the bags. I just didn't think it was necessary to add, because you're supposed to, it takes too long, flip these over from 1 to 2, and then it's on top of another one, which has the 3 and 4, or the star, on it, but don't have that option. But you do get to unlock the planes. But anywho, so these are all of the tiles, including an expansion. These are the Relic tiles. Actually, I could just do this. That gives you 2 units. That gives you gold. That unlocks a technology. That gives you great person. And this advances you on the culture track, which is this right here. And you get a cultural victory. Russia. So these are the 6 main Civ tiles. America, China, Egypt, Germany, Rome, and Russia. America gets a diagonal of each of the market board resources. China gets this culture thing over here. Only gets 3 of them. It's missing incense. This is Egypt, Nile. I'm not sure there are many rivers. This is Germany. Yeah, I thought so. The iron, of course, and the gold. This is Rome. This is blatantly Rome. I've played this game way too much. And then this is Russia. Of course, they get wheat and iron. Anyway. Then I put these 3 up here in this corner because they split the map. They have the ability to split the map in half. I don't really like playing with them. But in case, for whatever reason, anyone wants to see what the tiles look like, that's what they are. Do they have the symbols on them? Because I know some of them came with wisdom and warfare and all. I know these 2 are original. They're my favorite tiles. But anywho, so just to start over here, I believe that's original. I don't know what to say about that, maybe. Hey, I'm not seeing any markings on them. I think this is original. I remember that weird mountain. It's odd that the movement in this game is hindered by water, but not mountain tiles. This is definitely original, and so is this. I know for a fact these are both original. I want to say this is original. I don't know about that. I think this is original. And again, this is definitely original. And this is original. It's hard to mistake this being original or not. They're cherry trees. Or at least I assume they're cherry trees. It gives culture. I suppose, yes, this technically also does have the ability to split the map in half, but I always just put the water on the outside. And if you're playing on a larger map, this is original. If you're playing on a larger map, it can't cut it in half because there are other tiles. So these are the Civ boards, the starting tiles, rather, for... Is this Wisdom and Warfare? Yeah, Wisdom and Warfare. What is Zulu land? Okay. he gets this funny little tribal hut thing over here. Which kinda... not quite. Never mind. This is Mongolia. You can take a wild guess how I know that so quickly. This is Japan. In case you had any doubt. It's probably hot springs. Which is really unfortunate, because it gives you the gold, but then that's it. It doesn't give you any production. It should give you 2 gold, because honestly, that doesn't really help. Anywho, is this France? Yeah, it's France. I had a funny feeling that was France. I should know that. I think it's England because of the White Cliffs. Yeah, it's England. And then this. Who is this? Oh, is this Aztec? Mexico. I mean, you're not wrong, kind of, I think. Anywho. Because of the lake and the... Anywho. And then this is... Fame and Fortune. This is Spain. Just hovered. I'm not too familiar with Spain, why they put that in there. And then this is Greece, because of the islands. And this is Saudi Arabia. Wannabe Petra over there. And then this, who is this again? India. Oh, I don't play as Gandhi. His ability is not very good. He only gets incense. Really? I guess this kind of actually does look like India. Anywho. So that's that. I could go through... I guess I could as well. Let me start with the original. Catherine. Oh, that's the original communism. I'll get to that in a minute. I should probably look more straight down at this. The Russians get their... No, they don't. That's the new communism, sorry. The new communism... Let me just not. I'll get to that in a minute. Russians start with 2 armies, and they're given a white flag to add to their army cap. Normally only get 6, but they'll get a 7th, and it's white because they don't know what color you're going to pick. You can build it whenever you want. Well, I mean, if you can build it. If it's on the board, it's kind of pointless. But their stacking limit is increased from 2 to 3. Your stacking limit is generally only 2. Once per turn, they may move an army or scout to sacrifice and learn a tech that they have room for and are able to learn. It should say that, but this is already so long. And then, yeah, that's what Catherine looks like. And she starts with communism. Take a wild guess why. This is Caesar. It starts with Code of Laws. The Old Republic is actually really good, but we're not talking about that right now. His ability, I have a house rule for him where if he uses his capital city action to make a unit or figure, he builds 2 of them. But it has to be his capital. But whenever he conquers I just completely read this backwards. He advances 1 space on the culture track for free each time he builds a wonder or a city, and each time, not once per turn, each time he conquers a city or village. Germans start with 2 extra infantry. You generally only start with 1 mounted unit, 1 artillery unit, and 1 infantry unit. He starts with 2 extra, which means he has a total of 5 units, not 3. After setup, each time the Germans research a tech, which, by the way, however it's researched, so if he gets the hut, one of these things that spawn on the map, and it so happens to be the one that gives a technology, the FAQ answers this, that it does in fact count, and he gains, or builds, whatever, a unit. Oh, sorry, I need to completely redo that sentence. Not only when he researches, but it has to research and upgrade or unlock a unit, such as airplanes. It's the only unit you unlock. The other ones upgrade, as I explained earlier on the market board, where you flip the piece over. you build one of those units for free, and you gain one resource of their choice from the market, which is over here. And this Mario Fanatic made an unlimited bag, but you're really only supposed to have access to 6. It's supposed of each, and it's supposed to help bring balance to the game, which is incense, iron, silk, and wheat. Incense is generally used for culture. Iron's used for war. Silk is used as a wild card, really. Can assassinate units, obsolete ancient wonders, give trade. I think steam power allows you to use movement. And then wheat is generally production, and it's not really good or worth anything, which is why I play with double huts. But anyway. And they start with metalworking, which unlocks the barracks and gives you a combat bonus. America. You get a free random great person in their capital, and you can randomize it by just shuffling one of the cards. Just take one of each card and just shuffle it. Or you could put it in the a bag and shuffle that. If you're playing tabletop in reality. Or in reality, you could just, if you wanted to, you could roll a dice. A 3, 1, 2, 3. You get a merchant. Of course you would, you're American. Anywho. And each time, you are able to, well, notice it says instead of. Wait a minute, it doesn't actually say that. Yeah, instead of 1. So each time they convert 3 trade, which you are able to do, not just as America. America specifically receives 2 production. Everyone else only receives 1 production. Honestly, I about never do this. So it's kind of a weak. I don't really play as America that much. Maybe I should make a house rule for him. And of course he gets currency. And it's Abe Lincoln, in case you couldn't tell. He doesn't have his top hat. Whatever. I really should make a house rule for him. I told you what mine for Rome is. Anyway, Uzetin. Oh, wait. Come back. There we go. And now it's Mao. Yeah, MarioFanatic did a really good job with this. I don't even know where he found this. But now it's Wuzentian. Chinese start with walls in their capital. Take a while, guess why. The Chinese gain 3 culture each time they explore, and that's each time, not once per turn. They explore a hut or conquer a village, and one of the most broken abilities in the game, the Chinese may save one of their units killed after each battle. Not once per turn, each battle. Returning it to their standing force. So they basically have a unit that will never die. And then Cleopatra gets, she gets writing. Pretty funny. This is Cleopatra, she gets construction, and they start with a free random ancient wonder in their capital, which you can make the same way the Americans get a great person. And once per turn during city management, they may build and unlock building for free by using their city action. I take all of this. Construction just unlocks mines. Isabel, well actually it's Isabella, starts with 2 scouts, so much like how Russia got the flag, Isabella, or Spain, gets the white scout, because of course they don't know what color you're going to pick. Their travel speed is increased by 1. Normally your travel speed is 2, theirs is 3. Each time or when the Spanish discover an unexplored map tile, which normally there's a fog of war effect, and you have to use a movement to flip the tile, and then you can walk on it with your remaining movement. And if you don't have any, then you just use your movement to flip the tile. But whenever they flip a map tile, is what this is saying. By saying discover an unexplored map tile, you just flip it over. They immediately build a basic building of their choice, even if they haven't unlocked it, in any of their cities for free during movement. I'm not crazy about ever playing with that because that is just absurd. India gets agriculture. Oh, so he starts with a metropolis, which is really hilarious, actually. A metropolis is, normally you would start with this capital that says 12, and you grow it into this metropolis, which takes up 2 tiles. If you notice, each of these would only take up one of these 16 squares. Well, the metropolis would take up 2 of the squares, and yes, you can make a land bridge, and you can do all kinds of fun stuff. And if you... Let me take this. If you started here, which would never happen because it's not a main tile, and you expanded into this, because say you were only taking up this tile, but then you grew a metropolis, you would immediately discover that village without fighting it. And you get to, I mean, you kind of have to, but you also get to move your units for free. Anywho, so they start with a metropolis. Obviously, you have agriculture, kind of forced to. When the Indians spend a resource, they may use it as a incense, iron, silk, or wheat. So whatever resource they want becomes whatever else they want besides a spy, basically. And whenever the Indians devote to the arts, produces an extra culture token for each square containing a resource in its outskirts, which, of course, where's America? Here we go. Iron, silk, incense, wheat. That does not count. It's culture. A resource, yeah. Culture isn't a resource. I don't like Greece. They start with democracy. After the Greeks research a technology that no one else knows, they retain all of the trade on their dial. It is just broke. No. I hate that ability. And each time the Greeks gain a great person, they draw an extra person, keeping one and discarding the other. That means the cards. And if you have... I'm getting this a little early. Organized religion. Each time you draw a great person, draw an extra great person. So you can draw 3 great people cards and choose between 3 great people cards, which is almost half the deck, seeing as how there's only 7 in each of these piles. He's absurdly powerful. Saladin? Yeah, Saladin. He gets mathematics. The Arabs start with one of each resource from the market. Okay. And each time they spend a resource, any resource, it doesn't say excluding a spy. So even if they use a spy, they will gain 2 culture. And each time they invest a coin, they'll advance on the culture track for free. I guess it's a good time to talk about this. You have 4 investment cards. One is Endowment of the Arts. You pay less to advance on the culture track. One is Infrastructure. Each coin gives you the equivalent production per city. Military Industrial Complex, combat bonus. 4, 8, 12. They're basically a general for every 2. And then Public Education. You get a free technology of your choice for every 3 coins. So, obviously, you could be investing in that and helping yourself with a culture track or combat bonus. The infrastructure is not really worth it, in my opinion. Whatever, each their own. So that's Fame and Fortune. Which, of course, Fame and Fortune would come with the investments. And now, Wisdom and Warfare. The Zulus, much like I almost said the British, because of Bismarck. The Germans start with 2 extra artillery units. The Zulus may explore barbarian villages without battling them. That can be nice, but there's only so many. And once you get rid of them, then you basically don't have an ability anymore. However, it doesn't slow you down from placing your cities, because you can build your cities next to huts, which normally you can't do. And if you do, then you immediately explore the hut. You don't even need to step on the tile. It can really save time. It starts with animal husbandry. That's not a really good tech. Napoleon. Pottery, yeah. He just gets the combat bonus, just permanently. Permanent +2. The maximum of social policies he can adopt is increased. Well, yeah, because he starts with an extra, so that's kind of redundant. Normally you would only be able to pick... These are both sides. I just have them here to show what they're like. Normally you can only pick 3, but because he starts with 2, then he can get all 4, and he's the only one that can get all 4. Not that I think it's worth having. Whatever. Japan. Their trade dial. Normally it takes 6 to get to a level 1, 11 for a 2, which is funny because it's 2 and it looks like it's anyway. And then 16 for a 3, 21 for level 4, and then 26 for the level 5, which is the last card on the pyramid. It gives you the science victory, which is this card right here. The only level 5 immediately when they came with a tech victory. It is, you get chivalry. This guy with a crazy bird. I don't know if that's a hawk or a falcon. That's the new feudalism. I love that if I want to see it, I put my cursor in my hand, whatever this is, right in the way. All of their infantry units, it's just way too specific, have +1/3 strength, and of course their trade dial reflects that they they require 3 less trade per tech for research, which, yeah, his is only 3, 8, 13, 18, and 23. He basically gets a tech immediately, because Japan, you have to put your city somewhere, one of these 4 inner squares. So if he goes here, he gets 3 trade. If he goes here, he gets 3 trade, and he retains 1 because of the gold. Here he gets a lot of trade. 5. Wow. And then here he would also get 3 trade, so he's always going to get a technology, just like start a turn. And with feudalism, he can harvest a resource start of turn. That's really powerful. Mongols horseback riding, which increases their movement speed. So he and Isabella will have 3 movement speed beginning of the game. Mongols start with 2 extra mounted units, and when attacking they gain extra loot. And that is on the opposite side of this card. When you defeat a figure, you gain a level 1 loot, which is to steal 3 trade, culture, a resource, which can be a hut or a village, mind you, in addition to if they have anything from the resource board. And then you can make them discard a coin token, which can be on their technologies, or if they happen to get one, say if one of the villages was a coin token, but not an investment. You can never make someone get rid of their investments, because it's an investment. They won't have it anymore. And then if you defeat a city, you get a level 2 loot, which is to copy a technology, steal a cultural event card, or to steal a gold coin. Again, these are the cultural event cards. Some of them are really game breaking. Duty and honor before a battle. You draw a unit Not a figure, a unit for free. These cards are units. And what goes on the board, the scouts and flags, or the wagons and the flags, are the scouts and armies. This is a terrible angle. Anyhow, they get more game breaking as you go along. Revolt. I think there's only 2 of these cards. Choose a player, and that player's government is anarchy. I happen to get that. Wow. Of course, Wonders. Chitinitsa, 3 production. I hardly play with them. This unlocks all of the governments, and they do have a discount, but some of them are more game breaking than others. There used to be no health, and you would only go based off their combat, but there weren't enough casualties, so they decided, let's add health, and then we're going to determine the battle outcome by health, and then your combat bonus. So here we go. Yeah. He's a 2/2, and he's a 3/1, and then the other is that it's a 1 combat, 3 health. I don't know if I could happenstantially draw that. If I would stop picking the deck up. Nope. Alright, never mind. And it's like this with infantry, artillery, and mounted. Aircraft being a end game unit. What are you doing? The heck? No. Okay, so it's a 5/7 and a 7/5, and then the middle would be a 6/6. And it's like that all the way around. Of course, with these cards, you start out with a horseman, you upgrade it to a knight, turn it into a cavalry, and then a tank. And you would just turn it accordingly. Why is it auto-correcting it? Probably because the market board area, the grid's on over here. Of course, artillery is... Are you going to correct it? No, you're not. That's weird. Archer, catapult, cannon, artillery. Hence why they're called artillery units. And then infantry is spearmen, pikemen, riflemen, modern infantry. Okay. Not you. You. Thanks. Did I explain all of that well enough? And of course, if you take someone's capital, you win a military victory. England. You have to understand that there's an ability called scouting to know what this really means. When a scout is on a tile... Okay. Your city would normally only harvest resources that are in the outskirts of the city. So he would have 2, 3... Would you zoom out, please? 2, 3, 4, 5 hammers, which means he has 5 production, and he has 3 trade, which is 3 science. He would be able to harvest incense and silk, and that's generally all he would be able to do. However, if he had this over here, he would have 6 production and a coin towards his economic victory, which you only need 15 for an economic victory. Even though the coin's over here, that's just 0. Once you reach 15, you immediately win the game, no matter what's going on. Unless you want to do the tiebreaker stuff, but whatever. And then if he's over... Where's the cherries? Over here, if he devoted to the arts, he would gain an extra culture, in addition to gaining the 2 production. And yes, if he were on the iron, or any resource, he, like the incense over here, you would be able to harvest the incense or the iron. And that's normally only done with scouts. The English, however, colonialism and all being what it is, and yes, they start with a navy, because why wouldn't they? Their armies gather resources, they scout, as though they were scouts. And even though they only have a navy, they're able to cross water though they don't have navigation, but they can't end their movement in it. Normally you can only cross water if you have navigation. And then Montezuma. Irrigation, he's able to immediately just make his 3 cities. Take a wild guess what his ability is going to do. Each time they win a battle, they gain 3 trade, which is science. And after the Aztecs fight a battle, they gain 1 unit for every battle that was killed. Did I say that right? They gain 1 culture for every unit that was killed in that battle, even their own units. So unlike in Civ 5, where you have to kill other people's units, no, even if your own units die, you gain culture. And then each time they gain a great person, they build 2 unlocked units of their choice for free. This man is crazy. Which tile is this? Oh. No, not you. Just go back over here. That's that. Quick rundown of the rules. I mean, I really explained a lot already as it is. You have to unlock the buildings with technology to build the stuff. That's very blurry on this picture. Scouting. All kinds of stuff. Assembly. Oh, the board? Yeah, that's what a... Kindly. That's what a 2-player. I don't agree with this 3-player. I put a 4th tile, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I slide this down in between these 2. And then that's for 4 players. They do have one for 5 players because you get purple in, I believe, this one? It is not this one. It is this one. Yeah, I saw purple. Excuse me? Is the page missing? Oh, no, that was it. That's how they want you to do it. I think that's really dumb. No, that's just like straight stupid. I think I do something close to that. I think I get rid of the gap, obviously. And then I put this top person just in the middle. I think I just push these in and it's a 6, 6. Well, you know the 3rd number. And then I guess a 5. Yeah, that makes sense. This gap in the middle is a bit silly. But anywho, you could do that if you wanted to. Then yeah, you're supposed to make your city in the middle. You can't put it in the edge. They gain their resources from what it's adjacent to. This is the tech pyramid. You need 2 level 1s before you can get a level 2 and 2 level 2s before you can get a level 3. The game goes by start of turn, trade, city management, movement, research, and that's it. You can convert trade to production. You can make wonders, get social event cards, movement. You can't move diagonally. Where is that, page 20 or something? This is page 20. Yeah, right here. Figures cannot move diagonally. Once a figure has begun its move, it must complete the move before any other figure may move. Your stacking limit's only 2 unless otherwise. When you discover a tile, it consumes movement and you're supposed to pay attention to the arrow. I don't really agree with that. No one cares. What else is there? You're not supposed to... Oh yeah, the mountains don't matter, but the water does. Can't cross water, but you can cross a mountain. It doesn't affect your speed. You have your 2 movement speed unless you're told otherwise. But if you discover a hut or a village, then that's it. That's the end of your movement. Even if you have 5 movement, doesn't matter. And my figures... Oh yeah, you're not supposed to leave your... Now notice leave your figure in your city. What page is that on? Can only harvest once per action, yeah. It's probably back with... I thought it was page 1920. Nope. Cannot move diagonally. That's it. Water crossing, yeah, unexplored map tiles. Players must travel at movement phase. Yeah, you can only move during the movement phase. I don't know if that was clear enough. The rules felt the need to say it. Oh, this is probably it. A player may move their figures through their own city centers, which means it's legal for it to be there, but they may not end their movement in the city center, which prevents turtling, which means you're building up your defenses and you have a crazy large army that no one can militarily win by attacking you. Yeah, it's supposed to help balance. Scouts with the FAQ state that you cannot scout combat bonuses. Scouts can blockade a square, which is normally done by armies, but scouts, being scouts, would scout the resources back to you, except right there in italics, I almost said italices, for combat bonuses. So no, scouts cannot send back combat bonuses, but they can prevent them from being used by your opponent, much like an army can. And if you step off of a combat bonus to attack a city, you're not blockading it anymore, so yes, they have the combat bonus. Alright, other than all that, combat bonus, what do I feel like doing? Do I want to do social policies, or I guess I can do social policies. So these are the same card. It's just front and back. If I flip this over, it's military tradition. And now it's pacifism. You have to pick one over the other, obvious reasons. Each time you build a army, you build an unlocked unit of your choice for free. But that's the first, meaning only once per turn. And then pacifism is a lot stronger because it gives you 2 culture. Especially at the beginning of the game when you start with when you put a city down, you start with a scout and a army, unless stated otherwise. Did I do that? How to do that? That's interesting. Good job, Tabletop. So you would only start with those. So you would naturally get a culture, and then for having your scout, you would gain an additional culture. Why that is so powerful is that it only takes 3 culture to advance. And then right here you would get a great person like a general, which there's only 3 of. There's only 3 of each of these great person tiles. There we go. Gives you 4 combat bonus, which the only other way to get, well, that's not entirely true now with investments. The barracks gives you 2 and then 4 when you upgrade it to an academy. But then the culture cost is 5 culture and 3 trade, and then 7 culture and 6 trade, which is a level 1 technology. It's actually kind of hard to win a cultural victory. So this is just going to float here now. Okay, thank you. So this is actually really powerful, especially if you're building a figure. You get a unit for free that's, compared to getting game-breaking cultural event cards and free great people, I wonder why I go with pacifism every time. Then you have rationalism. Now this doesn't say or, and there are times where there's an or. I am led to believe that you can use both of these. So if you have 17 trade, you can spend both of them, or all 17, to get a level 1 and a level 2. And on the other side of rationalism, it's patronage. Spend 1 culture for, regardless of where you are on the culture track, to draw a cultural event card of that level. That can be really powerful, especially when you're done with level 1s and 2s. And as stated, you could get a player's government to switch to anarchy. You can chop their forest down and screw over their production. You can assassinate their figures or sabotage their buildings. I'm quite serious. There are some game-breaking things in there. Expansionism, I love that my cursor's in the way. gain 1 trade for each of your cities and 1 for each of your city-states. I took all of them out. There's 3 villages and 2 huts, and I think it can really ruin the game. If you put a city down next to a city-state, one of your own cities next to a city-state, it gets rid of the city-state. But here wow, that's impressive. Here they are. This 3 trade. This right here means any resource, and this will come in handy. There's at least 2 technologies that have this on it, and then a trade and a production. So you could harvest incense, iron, silk, whatever you want, just not a spy. And then this is a gold for your economic victory, and a production, and then of course 2 combat bonus, and a culture. And there's a +4, and then 3 culture. It's an amphitheater. Is that a crepe host? Stili, Pagoda, Constonbury, whatever it's called. If you have your flag on here, which that's what you need to do in order to claim that you are in possession of the city-state. And in addition to your hand, you get the +4 bonus. Now, I don't believe there's a way to wall it, so you will always be the defender. But I believe your stacking size is... Unlike a city, you can't put your... Tabletop, what are you doing? You're making me look weird. You can't leave your armies in your city, but you have to put them in the city-states. So you can get and for every army, every 1 army just by itself is all 3 of yours. Well, I guess I shouldn't say all 3, but 3 units. And then for every additional flag, army figure, you get 2 more. So it's not 6, it's 5. And then 7, 9, 11. Then, well, if you're not playing with city-states, I think you should just give yourself 2 extra trade per city. I don't know how I didn't notice that was there this entire time. But whatever. So I generally don't go for that. But urban development, I do go for. And when each of your cities has at least... Is that worded right? Each of your cities... Okay, yeah. Each of your cities with at least 2 different buildings and or wonders produce an extra 3 production and 2 culture when devoted to the arts. Technically, that makes it sound like when you devote to the arts, you get 3 extra production. That's not what that means. It clearly means you get 3 extra production when you're building something, and 2 extra culture when devoting to the arts. That is a little funny in its wording. When devoted to the arts, you get 3 extra production. That's useless. You don't need production to devote to the arts. That's stupid. Organized religion gives you a coin, and as stated with Alexander of Greece, each time you gain a great person, you draw an extra 1. You get to look at both cards and choose which one you want. And then natural religion, each of your army figures, not scouts, has a +1 travel speed, so instead of 2 it would be 3, when it is not moving as part of a group. That's very inspecific. Does that mean that if it starts in the same tile as another flag army figure, does it get this bonus as long as they don't head in the same direction? I would assume so. Whatever. And I already did the infrastructure. Yes, the infrastructures. No, the investment cards. The bottom is the original governments, and the top are the new governments. So the old despotism, no effect. New despotism, each city extra production. The old republic, especially this had to change because of pacifism, that your scouts can explore huts but not villages. Republic used to do that, And your armies can build cities as though they were scouts, which means, of course, only your scouts could make cities. Your armies couldn't. That's how you make cities. Is normally with scouts. But now it's just your armies can make cities as though they were scouts, which kind of made it worse. And that's kind of because of pacifism. Because your huts... I think they should have left it in case you didn't want to go with pacifism. I always use the Old Republic, Star Wars joke, because it's better. Anarchy... Wait, what? Are they actually different? Oh, they add no social policy effect. In addition to you can't take any actions with your capital. This is just... you can't do anything with your capital. And then tells you can change back to a government of your choice, which is kind of a given. Well, yeah, it kind of is a given, at the same time, kind of not, I suppose. Whatever. The old fundamentalism, not communism, used to increase your battle hand size by 1, but you collect 2 less trade than normal, and now it's the new communism, increases your battle hand size, which means you would normally get 3 units, then you would get 4 with your flag, and then for every flag army figure, you would get an additional 2, so you would start with 4, and then you would go 6, 8, 10, as opposed to starting with 3 and then getting 5, 7, 9. But now the new fundamentalism basically gives you a general, and start of turn you gain a culture for each of your armies on the map. That's way better. This is way better. Even though the battle hand size, 4 is generally about especially early game. The stupid thing about combat bonuses, you don't actually have to have any of your units survive the battle. In fact, if you have a combat bonus of plus 20 and you fight someone with an army that's only 18 and you don't have a single unit but your combat bonus is plus 20 and they only have 18, you will win without having a single unit. And I absolutely hate that about this game. It should be a bonus, and it should be added to. And if you don't have anything to add to, then it doesn't exist. But that's not how this game works. Whatever. So the old communism, each of your cities used to generate 2 extra production. Didn't really make sense. Whatever. Your capital produces 1 less culture when devoted to the arts. Didn't like it. This new one, hilarious. Each of your cities generates production from its outskirts equal to the city generating the most production from its outskirts. They all have whatever your highest production is. So you can put a city in the middle of a desert, get a ton of science, and it's not supposed to generate any production, but because communism, it has as much production as your strongest producing city. It's hilarious. True communism at its finest. Chef's kiss. Oh, and of course your battle hand size is increased by 1. The old democracy, this is from Civ Revolution for the Xbox, that your armies cannot attack cities. The stupidest, I don't even... But you do collect 2 extra trade. Yeah, no, that's stupid. Now you gain a gold, which is actually capitalism, not democracy, but whatever. And you still gain the trade. And it specifies start of turn. You collect 2 extra each turn. Yeah, it specifies start of turn. Feudalism used to give you a gold. I'm upset that they took that away. Whatever. It used to be that each of your cities may harvest a resource from your other cities, which of course is the incense, iron, silk, and wheat. But now it's just there's no gold anymore, and harvest a resource as a start of turn action, not a city management action, with any of your cities. And then monarchy got way better. Monarchy got brokenly better. Your capital used to generate an extra culture when devoted to the arts, and your cultural culture, whatever, hand size is increased by 1. Well, now, oh my goodness, you may take an additional action with your capital. It can't be the same, which means you either build a building wonder unit or figure. That's A. B is devote to the arts, and C is harvest a resource. So technically, both feudalism and monarchy, which they're the opposite sides of each other, much like communism and democracy, they both technically allow you an extra city management. It's just a matter of, are you harvesting a resource because chivalry, or you unlock feudalism with chivalry, or, wait a minute, do I have that right? There's chivalry, isn't it? Yeah, they wouldn't all fit. There's actually more level 2s than level 1s. Where's chivalry? Oh, hey, look at that. It's one of the ones that's floating. Yeah, chivalry unlocks feudalism and knights. Okay, cool. They both allow you an extra city action, technically. The other is, of course, devote to the arts. You generate a bunch of culture, and then harvest a resource. And yeah, note, you can spend 3 trade for 1 production, unless you're America. You get 2 production. If an army attacks a scout, the scout loses. It counts as a level 1 loot. You start the game with all this stuff. Research, yeah. So then the only thing that's really left is the technology. Grow Metropolis, writing. This is a broken one, where I need to get closer to the board itself. The magnifying won't zoom in anymore. Unlocks libraries. And you can cancel a city action being performed by another player if you have a spy. The only way to get a spy is through Hudson Villages, unfortunately. But at the same time, well, you can get the Kremlin and spend 2 resources as a spy. Whatever. And not resource abilities. What that means is you can't cancel, the monarchy obsoleting an ancient wonder or killing a random unit, not figure, and standing forces, or stopping someone from learning a technology, or nuking something. No, it's city management. An extra action with each of your cities, or gathering culture from incense. Can't stop someone from doing that. You can't stop someone from spending their resources either. It's a city action that gets canceled. So if they're going to build a building, which again, the only way to build the buildings is by unlocking the appropriate technology, like a granary, which then turns into, you don't need to have pottery or to have a granary to research and then unlock aqueducts. You can just build the aqueduct if you have 8 production. But engineering allows you to split. I knew I'm getting a little ahead. But notice that this is the symbol I mentioned earlier. It's just 2 of any resources. Allows you to put a coin on this card. And this allows you to increase your cultural hand size from 2 to 3. Spend this star means you can only have 1 of this type of building in your city. There's the other one. Well, there's now Navy, but Navy doesn't upgrade, and you're just stuck with a +2 combat bonus. There's the Temple. Well, and now the Navy. Yeah, you can see right here this symbol. It's new. The Barracks, which turns into a military academy. A temple turns into a cathedral. And the Market, which turns into a bank. They all have stars on them. You can only have 1 of those. You can have as many granaries as you can fit. You can have as many harbors as you can fit. Cross water, but not end your movement. But you cannot have as many barracks as you want. And if you have a barracks, that's it. That's your only star building. You cannot have a barracks and a temple and a shipyard. No, you get the barracks, that's it. You can have the barracks and as many granaries as you want. That's not a problem. Just 1-star building per city, period. Oh, and this adds 3 strength to the attack, which is the fuse and iron. Let's not use aircraft. That's a terrible example. So, thank you for correcting me. Alright, so if you're going to use artillery, instead of dealing 5 damage, it would deal 8. However, that doesn't count anymore towards your how you would calculate the end of the battle. It's now based off of health. But if you were using an archer, it would be 5 instead of 2, and you could kill an artillery. Yeah. So it is a very useful technology, especially if you're trying to get that early combat bonus to help you fight the barbarians. Horseback riding, travel speed is 3. You have to give 6 trade to another player, but you gain 9, so this is obviously better later game. Or unless you're going to use democracy. You know what, never mind, we'll get to that later. Stacking limit now becomes 3, which is normally 2. This game really loves the number 2. You can build walls, which just means you flip your cities. This is 6, and they're unwalled, and that's 12. You just flip it over, and now it's 10. You gain 4 combat strength, and then 12 becomes 16. And now you have walls. And that would be your city action, is to build walls. 4 becomes 18. A walled metropolis now, as opposed to that. You can still see the banners. Nice. And it's 7 production. Yeah. But if you get getting way ahead of myself. Combustion, if you attack a city with walls, they're destroyed. But anywho, Code of Laws unlocks Republic, and at once per turn, if you win a battle, you can put up to 4 coins on this card. Much like once per turn, you can put a coin on this card, and of course you can invest them into your military industrial complex and get a combat bonus. Or go for an economic victory, which you only need, of course all the cards are over here. Oh, you only need 15. Please zoom out. Then, after masonry is Code of Laws, you can build a trade post. Gets you science and culture if I would get my mouse off of it. See, this this costs 7, that costs 7, that costs 7, that costs 7, but this only costs 5 and gives you production. Likewise, that costs 7. This only costs 5 and gives you production. This only costs 5, but does not give you production. That's interesting. But you flip that over to university and that to a aqueduct. Oh, there's the university. The market, when you flip this over, it'll give you a gold in addition to these. If you have incense, you can gain 3 culture. This is probably useless. Spend a wheat to gain 3 production in 1 city, and once per battle, you can heal up to 3 wounds. I assume however you want, not just on a single unit, which can help you win now that it's based off of health, win your battles. But anywho, so as previously stated, there's more level 2s than there are level 1s. Construction, which is what Cleopatra starts with, gives you a workshop, but you can, oh dear, I didn't say this, you can only put a workshop on a mountain tile. Let me just go over here real quick. You can put these star buildings on any tile except water. And of course the cost increases. Any terrain except water. The university and library is a grassland only. And grasslands don't give you any bonuses. And the same is true with a granary and an aqueduct. They have to be on a grassland, which is probably why they cost so much less. And then the barracks the barracks in the academy are a star, so they're any terrain except water. The workshop and the iron mine are mountain only. The trading post is desert only. And the harbor and shipyard are water only. Unlike in the video game, you cannot place the board game wonders in water. It's very upsetting, actually. It's actually very upsetting. Sometimes I think I just put them on mountains because it's only one production. But anywho, I should probably look a little more straight down at this. And then, of course, if you have a wheat, you get 5 production. This unlocks feudalism, which no longer gives you a gold coin. You gain 5 culture. You you upgrade. Very specific wording, especially regarding Germany. Knights. Civil service gives you a coin and a social policy hand size increase. How am I supposed to word this? Increases your cultural hand size by 1. There we go. And if you have a spy, you can cancel a cultural event. It doesn't say targeting you. You can just cancel it if you don't like it. Like if someone's being a jerk and they want to change someone's government to anarchy, then you can say, actually, you're not doing that. But anywho, engineering allows you, once per turn, to split your production however you want, as long as you're able to do so. So if you have 10 production, you could build 2 basic units. What I mean by that is, normally you could only build 1 level 5 unit. If you have 10 production and you have engineering, you can actually build 2 units instead of just 1. Or even 8 when it comes to building 2 army figures. Because an army figure is only 4 production. A scout is 6. Oh, there's combat bonus. What's on the other side of you? I have to unlock you. There we go. Yeah, travel speed, can't cross water. Culture hand size, yeah, all 2s. And then the basic units are all 5. The flags are 4 and the scouts are 6. Anyhow, engineering. Irrigation allows you to build your 3rd city. Logistics is a terrible technology, and it's one of the new ones where you can lazily upgrade all of your units. I really don't like that. That's very lazy. Mathematics. You can spread 3 damage however you want when you're in a battle, and it unlocks catapults. Monarchy, of course, unlocks monarchy. Shocker. Obsolete and ancient wonder. Kill a random unit, not figure, in your player's standing forces, which is just the deck of cards. You have to show how many cards you have, by the way. You can't just stack a biplane. Wait a minute, you're a plane. You shouldn't be able to do that. You should be flying. Did it land on the middle? Oh no, it's right here. Cool. You can't hide that you didn't stack properly. You make it look like you only have 1 card. You have to fan them out and show that you have 3 cards. And if you're stupid, you're gonna... These are all planes, though. You're gonna have your 1 card be rotated. Let me not use this as an example. Come on, tabletop, you can do it. So you have to spread them out. And let's say you have 2 pikemen and an archer in real life. If you were looking at it like this and you're like, okay, I got my 2 pikemen and my archer, your opponents will see this. And this is obviously a level 1, and that's going to the right, so it's a level 2, and they know that you have 2 pikemen and an archer. So you really need to pay attention to that if you're playing that in real life. In addition to the fact where you have to spread them out and you can't just make it seem like you only have 1 card. when you have 4. But anywho, I think the same is true in Catan, actually. You can't make it seem like you only have 1 card. Mysticism allows you to draw an extra cultural event card when you do draw one, and you get to choose between them, which is actually really good. And notice it says not investment, but if you have a spy, you can force another player to discard a coin. You can never get rid of investments of your choice. And investments do not count toward the economic victory. Printing press upgrades the library to university, increases your stacking limit to 4. It's no longer 2. And this is another coin maker card where you spend 5 culture to get a coin. Sailing is 4 movement speed, cross and end your turn in water. Bureaucracy, I do get bureaucracy, not just the coin's nice. It helps you retain science. If I explain that, say you gain 3 trade on turn 1 and you have a coin. Wow, that's not locked. If you had 1 coin, for whatever reason, start of turn, you don't start with 1. It retains what you have, and if you never had it, you can't retain it. So then you gain 3 trade, because generally you only get 3 trade. And then turn 2, you gain 3 more trade. You would research a level 1 technology, and you would go to 1, not 0. And if you had 2 coins, then you would go to 2 instead of 0. So it retains your science. Once per turn, you may change your social policies during research. This helps a lot. It's unfortunate that it takes up a level 2 spot, because you only really need 5 level 1s, 4 level 2s, 3 level 3s, 2 level 4s, and then the space flight. And then democracy unlocks democracy. I don't know if that would be a surprise to anyone, but once per turn you may spend 6, a level 1 technology's worth of science or trade to gain a coin. But with democracy you gain the 2, so you really just need 4 more, but it's painful. But you do unlock pikemen in democracy, and democracy gives you a coin now. Yeah. Banking unlocks banks, or upgrades your market to a bank. But if you didn't have markets, then it unlocks banks, and you gain 7. Unless you're going for a wonder, this isn't really going to do any good. Stacking limit with biology is 5, and you may heal all wounds in play. But as they're getting killed, it's not as good as it sounds, especially with how units work. It's a rock, paper, scissors with units. The one trumps the other. They attack first. They don't take damage from what they trump. Communism, I think it unlocks communism. Hang on, is this communism? Is that the hammer and the sickle? Yeah, that's communism. If you have a spy, during movement, you can choose a figure. No, you choose a square. Sorry, that's very important. It's a huge difference. No figure may leave that square, which means you can keep them there, and then you become the first person in the start of turn order, and then you can attack them. And then they have to defend, and they have to put a unit out first, and I'll get to that. I'm working my way over to the unit board. I've already explained a little bit about units. Ecology, advancing on the culture track costs you 1 less trade for every 3 coins you possess. That actually really helps, believe it or not. It's not really hard to get 3 coins, and saving the 1 trade unbelievably helps. And then this is interesting, but it's so late game, and you're not going to go for ecology immediately. You're generally going to unlock your academies and something else, upgrade a unit. But you can change an empty non-mountain square into a forest, grassland, desert, or water for the rest of the game. And if someone used a cultural event card to deforest your forest, you can grow it back, finally. Once per turn, if you build a wonder, is what it should say. Once per turn, if you build a wonder, add a coin token to this, max of 4. There is a wonder, I think it's the internet, increases all of these max 4 coins to 6. Anywho, if you have a silk, incense, iron, and wheat, you immediately learn a technology of your choice for free with education. Gunpowder, 2 random resources, doesn't matter what they are. Obsolete, what that means is you lose the ability, but the token for the culture is still on the board, but you can't use the wonder's ability anymore, so it obsoletes it, not destroys it. An ancient or medieval wonder, or destroy a building of your choice. You don't have to have a unit on top of it, you don't have to have a unit anywhere near it, you just blow it up. A little broken, whatever. By the way, you get riflemen. Metal casting, this is the last one where you can spend incense to gain culture, and you get 7, and it unlocks cannons. Military science unlocks the academy. Your cities produce an extra production for every 3 coins. That's whoop-de-da-do in my opinion. Railroads hilariously give you cavalry and iron mines somehow. I guess coal? It's not a coal mine, it's iron, whatever. And it unlocks a coin. Steam power, this is the wild card. This is the one wild card. You notice there's generally a theme. The incense gives you culture, and iron has to do with battling. Wheat either generally, where's wheat? Gives you production, but you can use it to change the thing. And then, where's the other one? Never mind, let me not get ahead. But with silk, holy crap, this thing is a wild card. You get trade over here. You can assassinate units over here. And now with steam power, you can move all of your figures to a square with water on the map, but they can't move again, which is kind of odd because it's city management. So you're kind of telling people what you're going to do while they're still in their city management phase. It's not the best idea, but if you have a stacking limit of like 5 or 4 and they can't really do anything about it, it is kind of funny. They think they're safe, you're nowhere near them. You get steam power, and then during research, and then it becomes your city management, and you suddenly have your massive army right next to someone's capital. They still have technically 2 turns to prepare, but still. And then theology unlocks fundamentalism and increases your cultural hand size, and unlocks or upgrades temples to cathedrals. And then finally, level 4s, because I've already explained that spaceflight is level 5, you immediately win. Plastics gives you, it's more production, but plastics, start of turn, you can build a unit, figure, or building that you've unlocked for free. Replaceable parts, infantry, and stacking limit 6, computers, coin, and battle hand size, and cultural hand size. I keep saying cultural instead of culture, but I think cultural sounds better. Whatever. Are increased by 1 for every 5 coins. Now, if you had 10 coins, I don't know why you're not going for an economic victory at that point. Because seriously, you're like right there. And then this gives you 1. So you would technically have 11 if you already had 10. You're like right there. But whatever. Mass media, your cultural events cannot be canceled regardless. Even if you... Where's mysticism? Even if they're using mysticism, or they have a cultural card that says that they can cancel another cultural event. But yes, there is a cultural event card that cancels other cultural events. This says, doesn't matter, it can't be canceled, because propaganda, and everyone believes it already happened. Cancel a resource ability, that's terrible. anytime. Yeah, that's just terrible, but you have to have a spy. Spies are actually really, really rare. Because there's a good chance you're not going to get one on the map, which is another reason I play with double huts and villages. And then the only way to really reliably get a spy, and I'm serious, the only way is if you get the Kremlin and you spend 2 resources as a spy. Ballistics unlocks artillery, and then you can deal 6 wounds however you want. Combustion, once per turn, when your armies ends its movement on a building, destroy the building. And if your armies are attacking a city with walls, the walls are destroyed before the battle, making the person the defender, as opposed to you. I'm about to get to that, and it unlocks tanks. Flight unlocks planes. Your movement speed is 6, and you can ignore everything. You can fly right over someone's city. You can ignore huts and villages. I don't know why they're still there at this point in the game. You can ignore enemy figures. You just straight on to whatever you want. And then atomic theory. Actually, I already explained this. You can nuke a non-capital city during movement. Everything around it is destroyed. Wonders, figures, great people, all of it. Which means you not only lose the great person tile, you lose the card. And then city management is an extra city action with all of your cities. Now, how combat works, which I keep getting to, is normally... Are you a plane? Are you a plane? Yeah, you're a plane. I'm not using you. I'm not using you either. Really? Here, let me just put you away. Put you here, and you here, and you here. Excuse me? How many... This is 3, right? 1, 2... No, are you a... Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Nope. Move this. Now, normally, if you had a figure and someone, or even... Here, let me take this one. If someone moved their figure close enough for you to attack, they would have... Excuse me? How the physics in this game work? Tabletop. Behave. Maybe I'm not supposed to use this tile. Where'd the flag go? Alright, you know what? Here, let me lock this tile. That'd probably be a lot smarter. Someone came within your distance, and they forgot that you had 3 movement speed. And you're like, what the heck are they doing? I have 3 movement speed. They must have not realized. And so 1, 2, 3, you would attack them. Please don't be dumb. They would have to be the defender. How do you have 4? There's a plane in here. Oh my goodness. Go away. Which means they would have to start a front. They would have to open, and they would be the person to first put a unit down. Then you would look at your hand and go, you know, they probably have, and I made this face this way because for them it's the horseman. Now, if I were to play a spearman or any kind of infantry unit, infantry trumps the horseman. So I would deal the 2 damage and kill it, because it only has 1, before it deals the 3 damage and kills me. Because I trump it, I attack it, it dies, and it never attacks me in return. The same is also true, however, when applied to archers. Archers trump infantry units, so it would deal the 2 damage and kill it before the 2 damage from the spearmen attack the archer and kill the archer. It never takes the damage. But then lastly, the horsemen, or the mounted units, attack archers before archers attack, and it would kill the archer. And then with it being its last unit, it would play the spearman to kill my horseman, but then I would play the archer to kill the infantry, and then I would win because I have 1 whole point and they have 0 points. I have 1, they have 0. I win. I make their army go away. Actually, I like being red. You know, whenever I said, for the sake of the example. Then I would be able to steal. Is it this card? No, it's definitely this card. 3 of their trade, 3 of their culture, a resource token, or make them discard a coin. And if I had Code of Laws, I would put a coin on my Code of Laws card, which at start of turn, here, let me take the coin. That's, of course, this could only happen during movement. And then you would go to research and then start of turn. I could take this coin and turn it into an investment and put it on my military industrial complex. And when I have 2 coins, I basically have the equivalent of a general. Now, great people, they're a little weird. This is already probably such a long video, but I may as well go all out. I have no idea how to pronounce that. All of the engineers, you would think there'd be a theme. I don't really like the scientists. Whatever. You may discard this card to take an extra action with 1 of your cities, and it cannot be cancelled. You may use this action with your capital during anarchy. That's... I just don't care. That's a dumb card. You may discard this card to choose a tech that another player has learned and research it for free. Shouldn't that a science? I don't like some of these cards. Did I read this right? Extra city action with 1 of your cities. I mean, that's better than this. Well, I guess I can see how an engineer would figure this out, reverse engineering. But it's a science. It's not a... Whatever. Whatever. Henry Ford, your travel speed is increased by 1. Anytime you can gain 3 culture each time you research a technology that no one else knows or is researching. Oh, let me look straight down at it. You may discard this card to gain both culture and trade. I said that backwards. Trade and culture equal to the total number of buildings in all of your cities. Don't really like that. Oliver Wright, this is the jerk. If China ever gets this, they have an aircraft unit for free the beginning of the game, the rest of the game. It will never die. You discard this card to build an aircraft even if you haven't built it or unlocked aircraft units. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Whatever. Martin Luther King, your city actions cannot be canceled, and you are immune to anarchy. That is actually really great. And considering he gives you 1 of everything, as opposed to 2 production, well, because he's an engineer, but whatever. Humanitarians, merchants, explorers. Okay. Scientist, general, artist or thinker. Susan B. Anthony, 2 production in all of your cities. Jim Hinson James. Why did I say that? You must be able to keep this card. Each time you build a wonder, put a wound. Okay, yeah. And then start of turn. Gain culture and trade equal to the number of wounds. So, gotta build wonders. Don't like it. You may discard this card to gain 3 culture for every unbuilt army figure you have. Interesting. Humanitarian. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. You may discard this card to save all of your killed units from a battle and return them to your standing forces. Thank you, Florence Nightingale. That is broken as heck. He's a little French, or she. I'm not even going to bother. Build 3 free harbors, even if you haven't unlocked harbors. Well, it does say up to, but your tabletop, how is that even possible? Mother Teresa, what have you done? You really are a mystic. Once per turn, you may give one of your coins to another player and place it on their Civ sheet. If you do so, advance 1 space on the culture track for free. Adam Smith gives you a coin. Anytime you may discard this card and gain 27 culture, which maxes out your dial and would help you gain all the trade you need, arguably. Okay, it helps you get a lot of trade to advance on the culture track. Oh, he does give you culture. And then the coins help you retain your trade in the first place. So the merchants help you gain not only coins for economic victory, but they help you with the culture track. Almost said tree. Captain Cook. You may discard this card to double your movement speed until the end of your turn. I'm not crazy about that. Wait a minute, there was already a movement speed guy. Whatever. You may discard this card. Look under every hut and village. Oh my goodness. Even ones owned by other players. I love that. That's beautiful. Gain 1 for every 3 coin you have. Oh, 1 culture for every 3 coins. Interesting. I like this one better. You may discard this card. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, Andrew, but like Carnegie? Whatever. You may discard this card to advance 1 space on the culture track for free for every 3 coins you have. Interesting. Are you sure you guys aren't writers or something? Oh, I guess it involves money. You would, okay, you're a merchant or an explorer? Okay. You're a merchant of Venice, aren't you? Gian, okay. They just AP because you can't pronounce that either. Each time you invest a coin, build an unlocked building in one of your cities for free. And that's it. Okay, well, I really like that one. So, science, you would think there'd be a lot more science stuff, but one does uranium. I think it's Albert Einstein. Galileo Galilei. When you may discard, not when, well, whatever, to choose a square on the outer edge of the map and move your figures in that square to an empty square in the outer edge. To the outer edge, and that makes more sense. But then they can't move again on this turn. It sounds a lot like steam power. You may discard this card when you would spend uranium. Oh, so it's not... Oh, she's the chick whose journal was so radioactive. Oh my god, I remember this chick. What's Albert Einstein give you? Yeah, she has a journal, and I think to this day it's still, like, super radioactive. It's in a museum. Charles Darwin, once per turn when you devote when you devote a city to the arts, you may exchange the culture produced into trade. Because you needed war, and you're going to go with rationalism. That's why. You're going to get 17 extra culture, and you're going to gain a level 1 and a level 2. And you're going to skyrocket. I see. Albert Einstein, he gives you the ability, you may discard this card to spend any amount of trade for culture and any amount of culture for trade. Really? That's not at all what I thought you would do. Sir Isaac Newton, before researching, you may place this face down your tech pyramid as a blank tech. For the rest of the game, even if Newton dies, when you discard a tech, place it 1 level up. Let's say, just gonna go over here and abuse this. You had these technologies. Instead of your level 2 being a level 2, you can make it a level 1. Or if you want to research a level 3, this might be important. If you wanted to research a level 3 and just bypass everything, you can, because now it counts as a level 2. That would be about the only... Not Oliver, right? You place it lower than you normally would. So if you somehow manage to get... Was it 60? How much is it? $16 trade, and you don't have any level 2s, or if there's a level 3 that you really want, you can place it as a level 2, and you don't have to worry about researching 2 level 2s before getting a level 3. Or likewise, you can just get... I like how that was the top card. That's just beautiful. You could get... Okay, thank you, Tabletop. You could get Atomic Theory a lot earlier than you otherwise would, because now it's a level 3 and not a level 4. I don't know what you would bother getting, but still, you could just nuke someone a lot earlier. Okay, I could kind of see that. Doing the whole level 2 as a level 1 doesn't really help. But if you're getting Atomic Theory as your first level 3, that's why you would do this. That makes sense. Yeah, you're a jerk, Nikolai Tesla. Why would you ever let someone do that? That's terrible. So Sir Isaac Newton is the guy whom you just take his card, and I probably need to make this way smaller. First person camera activated. What does that even... Did I not? Anyhow. He's still way too big. So you could place him down as your level 2. And then if you have Nikolai Tesla, you have your 2 level 2s. Actually, you're still level 3. So you have your 2 level 2s because he counts as a level 2. And then if you have Nikolai Tesla, you can get Atomic Theory as a level 3. That's just crazy. This is a lot slower now. I'm going to have to figure out what I did. Alright, that was silly. Was that the last of the scientists? Oh no, I see. I am still having problems with my camera. Thank you, Tabletop. Okay, I think I fixed it for real this time. Alan Turing? Not turning, just Turing? Okay. Gain 1 trade and 1 culture for every 2 unbuilt armies you have. And you keep this the rest of the game. That's pretty nice. Increase your stacking limit by 1. Interesting. Alright. Only 2 more. Only so much longer. Leonidas, when you are the defender and with fewer units in your battle force, you gain a combat bonus of 8. That is unbelievably specific, but very powerful. Sun Tzu, best general in the game. Spend 3 trade science to, instead of playing a unit, pass the turn back to the other person. So as you remember, if you did that, the person would start the battle, and you say, you know what, I don't feel like playing a unit. I'm going to spend 3 culture because I have Sun Tzu, and they would have to open a new front. And you could do it again, actually, if you wanted to, and you can see what all their units are, and then you can play appropriately, kill that unit, and kill that unit, and keep all of your units alive. It's actually really powerful. I argue he's the best general in this game. Gustavus Adolphus. I like how I can pronounce that, but not all the other ones. Just the French stuff. I'm not quite sure. Anywho, you may discard this card at the start of a battle to kill all of your units in your battle force, all of them. You can't pick and choose, but you can build an equal number of unlocked units, immediately adding them to your battle force for free, mind you. So if you unlock planes and you have a bunch of other units, you can just kill all your units and make planes. Or if you have, a mixed match and your best unit is mounted, but you only have 2 of them, and you have 3 infantry and 2 artillery, you can just kill all of them and make all of your best unit. That's also very good. You become the first player, at any time. Start of any phase, you can become the owner of the start of turn coin. This thing right here. Normally you just say it's start of turn, red does everything first, research, okay, cool. Now it's blue's turn, you go through the games, start of turn, trade, city management, movement, research. Okay, now it's red's turn. And they would move first, which is very crucial, and they have the ability to build things first. So if there's only 1 barracks left, which there's only 5-star building, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there's only 1 left, then they get to build it because they're the start of turn person. Likewise, there's only 5 banks and 5, but there's 6 of everything else except trade posts and harbors. There's a lot of harbors. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, there are only 6. Really? I almost understood how to use Tabletop. Anyhow. So you can move first, you can get the wonder even, you can build the last academy, etc., etc. Let me look straight down. Gregory, each time one of your units can you deal a wound. Oh goodness. That can come in handy. Say I wanted to open a new front. That'd be a little silly because I know say he was dead. What's the best way to do this? If this archer attacked this spearman and killed it because artillery trumps. This is the reverse of Pokemon. Grass is not supposed to kill fire, but I don't have problems with it. If that were to happen and you had Gregory, you could deal 1 wound. What that means is this horseman right here with 1 health, you could deal 1 point of damage to it. Do you know what that means? It dies. So that can come in handy. Additionally, if of course something already had wounds on it, you could have killed the infantry if it already had a wound on it. Joan of Arc. Discard this card. Oh boy, I don't like those ones. In the battle which you are the defender, very specific, you have to discard it and you have to be the defender. To increase your combat bonus by an amount equal to your unspent culture. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like Hannibal either. You may discard this card, which I don't like. No one should like that. You should always want to keep your abilities. Move all of your figures in that square to any other square on the map containing at least 1 of your figures, and you may not exceed your stacking limit. That might go in hand with, why is this so slow? Whatever. With the fact that once your movement starts, once a figure has begun its move, it must complete its move before any other figure may move. The problem with that is if there's a figure, here and here, there is a difference. But there were a blue figure here. Does that mean that you have to immediately start a fight if you move this here? Can you not also... I'm going to lock this tile before it flies away. Can you not pincer and also get this army to attack here and then attack with 2 armies against this 1 army? A little inspecific. But with Hannibal, you put them together and then you move. That would more so ideally be done on a city, especially one that you were not able to pincer. But that rule about finishing, how can you really not pincer in this game? And pincering is, you're pinching the thing from 2 directions. It makes it seem like you're supposed to immediately start a battle the second one of your flags steps foot. And the same would be true if this were a city. I don't think I need to demonstrate that. Wow, this is a lot slower. What did I do? And then that's it for generals. Alright, riders. Excuse me, Akira? Actually, isn't that a funny... Never mind. Akira. Each time another player devotes to the arts, you gain... Actually, a city. So if they devote all 3 cities to the arts, you gain 3 culture. Interesting. But odds are if you're doing that, you're the one devoting the arts and not the other person. Frida? What? Free to go, ma'am? Free to go, sir? Anytime you may discard this card to discard... What? You may discard this card to discard... Okay. Any culture events you don't want, and then draw enough to fill your hand. That's... So if you only had 1, and you didn't like it, you can discard this card and the cultural event card you have and fill your hand, which is hopefully like 5. Or up to 5, even though you only had 1 card. Draw from the tree that you're in? Oh my goodness. That's beautiful. Mark Twain, wow. What do you do? You may discard this card to cancel a city action, a resource ability, or a cultural event. If you do, the resources are lost. That's pretty rude. Okay, I'm liking these writers, these thinkers. How'd you manage to... Okay. Michelangelo. No, you get to keep them? No, of course not. Why would you? You may discard this card to build a wonder for 5 less than normal, and it does stack with other discounts. Pyramids is normally 15, it's only 10 with pottery, and if you have pottery in, you feel like discarding Michelangelo, then it's only 5. Excuse me, who is it? Valmiki? Cultural hand size increased by 2. Oh hey, you get to keep them. Anywho. Jerry Garcia, as your capital's... I don't know why it says capital city. Your capital's action, you may devote this... What? Oh, you may discard this card to devote all of your cities to the arts. That's... So it does... Oh, no, it does. You have to use your capital's action. This action cannot be canceled. Interesting. That can be really good, though. William Shakespeare. When advancing on the culture track, you may skip a space that has someone else's marker on it and pay the cost and receive the reward for the space you land in. So, obviously, if... Let me try this one more time. So if... This is pretty good, actually. If you were here as Alexander, you would skip over Saladin. Oh, but then you don't get a great person. Alright, here, let me try this again. If you were Isabella... This is hilarious. I don't see why you couldn't do this. You could skip over both Alexander and Saladin. Get the great person before both of them. Oh, yeah, you're missing out on 2 cultural event cards. Barbarian Encampment. Choose an empty square, put a... See, I like using this for myself because you can get a coin on your Code of Laws and then you get the rewards. But it can be used to prevent someone from making a city. You can get a spy through this, but then you have to give someone a coin. But the level 2 ones, you don't have to do that. Got the more production ones. It's only good for wonders. Exchange level. If they don't have the ability to learn anything from you, you basically get a science for free if you do this right. And then yes, this does go up to level 2. I don't know about 3. Defection, kill a figure movement. Or during movement. Brensert, cancel an event. Yeah, as I told you, there was one that cancels an event. A player must discard a coin, but not an investment. And yeah, that would have to be a new one, because they didn't exist 3 years after until this game was made. Drought, yeah. Place a disaster token, desert side up. It goes on that square. Oh, it could be anything. It could be you could use this on yourself if you wanted to. You could turn a water tile into a desert if you really wanted to. But you could also turn someone's forest into a desert. Exchange of ideas, barbarian encampment, defection, drought, more anarchy. Oh, here we go. Here's one. You either change one of your social policies or you... Well, it doesn't say or, but still. Move one of your figures up to 2 squares into an empty square. Not diagonally. Sabotage. Within 4 squares. As they go up, they get further away. I think the next one's 6. Sabotage, migrants, we have despot. Disoriented. What the heck do you do? Wow. You're very disoriented. Choose a square, move all figures belonging to another player into that square to 2 squares. Cannot be forced to start a battle. Okay. Okay, that's it. And then... Is that it with William Shakespeare? Oh, that was a perfect time to start doing that. I may as well show some of these level 2s then. Yeah, you don't have to give the coin anymore. Cancel a cultural event. Oh, the bread and circuses as if it's targeting you. This just cancels anyone. Roaming horde, that's a new one. Choose an army or city within 4 squares of a village marker on the map. And that figure or city is attacked by rank 2 barbarians, which means knights, pikemen, and catapults. Now, if they happen to lose, which would be terrible yet hilarious, the city's destroyed, and all of the surrounding buildings in its outskirts, obviously, are returned to the market board. Depression, choose up to 2 other players. Each player must discard 1 coin. It's unfortunate it doesn't say, or 1 player must discard 2. And then, yeah, this is destroy a building within 6 squares as opposed to 4. Flooding instead of a... What is it? A desert. It's now a ocean tile. Or I guess a lake. Lost. Move them 3 squares. Really? Can't start a battle. Gain 6 production. Despot, queen, and then I think president. Nationalism, build 2 units. Shared knowledge, level 1 or level 2. Technology. Mass defection. Wait, did I do that one? Chooses 6 squares. Or kill a great person. Or up to 2 figures in a square. You can kill a great person. Shared knowledge, generous gift. Cancel cultural event. Deforestation. Turn the forest into a grassland. turn a forest into a grassland, 2 units. Choose 2 social policies to switch, or move one of your figures up to 4 squares into an empty square. And they can still move. I love the Queen Day. Mass Faction. Roaming Horde again. Colonials. Only 17 of these. 3 policies, 6 squares. Excuse you? Cancel a cultural event or a resource ability. Good soup. Just did that one. President Day, 8 production. Whole scale defection. Choose a square, period. Doesn't matter. Kill a great person. Or up to 2 figures. May interrupt movement. Same card. Scandal. Every player, I assume besides you, yeah, every player except you, good job, must discard 1 coin token of your choice. Holy crap. Destroy up to 2 buildings of your choice belonging to any other player or players and return it to the market board. Pricely Gift now has uranium available to you, and you don't pay a coin to someone else that you're using it. Prime TV, cancel a cultural event or resource ability. Yeah. Patriotism, 3 units. Supply drop. Take an additional action with one of your non-capital cities, or gain 7 trade, science, what have you. Think Tank, a level 3. Out of position? It was very out of position. How about that? Choose a square, move all figures belonging to another player in that square up to 4 squares as a group. No diagonals or crossing water, unless they know it, right? And they can't be forced to start a battle. All right. Oh, wonders. Oh my goodness. How long is this video? Oh, it doesn't matter. This is the whole point of this video. So Chitnitsa, all of your cities, 3 production, Hanging Gardens, build a figure in the square containing it for free. Great Walls gives you walls for free, start of turn, in one of your cities. And your opponent loses 1 less loot. What that should mean, why is this so slow, is if you were to lose, they wouldn't gain anything for fighting you, for your fighting your figure. But if they fight your city, then they gain a level 1 loot. But if they defeat your capital, then odds are they took the Great Wall, and they still win a military victory. So they can only ever get a level. So they just don't gain anything from you if they defeat your figures. This pick came a mess. And then, yeah, this unlocks all of the governments, and you're immune to anarchy. Now notice, these are the Ancient Wonders. And the Ancient Wonders only have 1 culture on their tile. The respected tile. The Medieval? Yeah, Medieval Wonders have 2 culture, and the Modern Wonders have 3 culture. And yes, that's the United Nations. I'm just going to flip this over. Oracle allows you to see your opponent's hand, so they can't hide what they have. They have to show you what it is, so you know exactly what they have and how they can play. Start a turn, gain 1 culture. There's not even a discount on that one. Great Lighthouse. Each empty water square in your city's outskirt produces an extra trade. It's actually really good. God, the Statue of Zeus. 6. This is the only 6. There's 2, 4, and then there's this jerk. There's not a reduction cost on it either. But the problem is, it's an Ancient Wonder. If you get Monarchy, you can obsolete it. All that production for nothing. There is a building program I'm actually not. Oh, wait, it would be over here, wouldn't it? Barricades? No, I didn't do that either. Let me take one of these. Silk wheat. And here's what the wound tokens look like, in case you're curious. Or a damage dealt in battle. The building program. You just put, I had to rotate it, put this on your city, and you come back to it next turn, and it doubles the production. So if it were generating 8 production, you put that on it, you come back next turn, it has 16, you would have one more than you need to produce the Statue of Zeus, and you can build the Statue of Zeus. The Colossus, start a turn, gain 3 trade. Is that the last one? Oh, okay. There's only 9 of these. 9? Notre Dame, when researching a tech, you may spend 6 extra trade to learn a second tech of the same level or lower. It's actually really good. Lavore, gain 3 culture, start of turn. Porcelain Tower, technology costs you 5 less to research, but you may still only research once per turn. That does not include your rationalism. However, at that point, I don't know why you would have rational. Anywho, just need to read what the card says. Enemy figures cannot end their movement in your city's outskirts. Any enemies already in your city's outskirts must move out when available. There is no discount. This is great. Your unit cards never cost more than 5 to build. Now what that can mean is this plane would normally cost 12. It is 5. If you have engineering, you can build 2 planes for less than the price of 1 plane. Yeah, tanks are only 11. So if you had knights, it would normally cost you 9 to make it, but then it just goes back to 5. But the fact that you can buy 2 planes for less than the price of 1, that's just, oh my goodness. Build a building you've unlocked in one of your cities for free, start of turn. This is a little hard to micromanage, not gonna lie. You may as well have it with your general. All of your units are +1 strength. If you keep it with your generals, it'll help you remember that you have it. Once per turn after you invest a coin, gain 1 resource of your choice from the market. That can be used with Saladin to... Anywho. Agar Watt, city management. Once per turn as a city action, you may harvest twice with that city. So you could get 2 incense. Or you could... Well, I was thinking for culture, but you could also just immediately put a... coin on your pottery. Excuse you? Is this really the last one? Okay. And then 9 of these. Pentagon, your units can't be trumped. It's pretty straightforward. It's a great card, kind of. Anywho. Yeah, this internet, I said this is the one that instead of all your coins saying max coins on it 4, increases it to 6. If you remember pottery, said you can only put 4, actually Code of Laws happens to be here. Normally it's max 4. Well, if you get the internet, it's 6. The Kremlin, once per turn, at any time, you may spend 2 resources instead of a spy. What it should say, technically, is as a spy, but whatever. That's the only reliable way to get them. You can try for a hut in a village, and you can try for a social event. Just Kremlin's the only reliable way. Christo and Tor, what is it? Your culture hand size is increased by 4. Ooh. Sweet Jesus. Start of turn, draw 2 culture event cards from the deck of your choice. This is broken beyond belief. Wow. Wow, good lord. The Lord is good. And all the time. Yeah, Big Ben, start of turn, gain 1 of every resource from the market. If it's available. There's only 6. If someone's hoarding all the iron, you're not going to get iron. Nothing you can do about that. United Nations, cultural events cannot target you against your will. I don't know why it's worded that. Okay. Sydney Opera House, start of turn, advance 1 space on the culture track for free. There's no discount on the Sydney Opera House or the United Nations. Why is the United Nations 20? But the Sydney, because it's really powerful. If you're all the way down here, especially as Saladin, just start a turn up. I just need to do this and I win. Cool. Anywho. Statue of Liberty. Research 1 technology known by any other player for free. You may still only learn once per... Wow, that's not broken at all. And it's only 20 with metal casting? Dang. Start of turn, add 1 coin to this wonder. There's no max on it. You just keep adding coins to it. It's a great way to get investment cards as well as investment cards. Fill up your investment cards or win an economic victory. So the thing I grabbed over here, those are all the wonders, obviously. And if you devote to the arts, you'll get the appropriate culture, all that good stuff. If you, is it this one? The building program, the new shipyards, the city-states, certain wonders, certain tiles. Okay, so I know that those 2 aren't original. You can turn a scout into a caravan. Okay. If a player disbands an army, they may choose to fortify the city that the army figure was disbanded in. If they do so, they take the marker that I just placed over here. Do so, fortification marker is temporary. Indicates that temporary defenses have been built to protect the city. If they do so, it receives a +2 combat bonus. The city successfully defends itself. The fortification is discarded and isn't successfully defended, the city is destroyed. A city may only have 1 fortification marker on it. So if you have your army in your city, you can put this side of it, which looks like walls, and it gains +2, and instead of being +6 or even +10, it is now +12. And that should be able to be done because you're not supposed to have a flag in your city, but if it is legal for you to have your flag in your city in general, just can't end the movement, then I don't see why you cannot build a flag in your city to try and get someone to not attack you, because if they were to do so, technically you would get an increase to your battle hand size. And then when movement happens, or your movement happens, you're supposed to move it out, even though it was in a battle. Whatever, you just move it out. Odds are, if you won, he wouldn't be here. Where'd the thing go? Oh, and then on this side, the caravan, as opposed to me accidentally calling it a scout earlier, if you disband your scout, then you put that caravan side up and it gives you 2 extra production. Now, I don't know why you would ever do that, considering if you have a scout on a tile, excuse me, where's, I guess to keep it safe. Are you covering it? Of course you are. Get out of here. Over here, then you're already getting 2 production, and then you're getting whatever else it's on, like the culture or the incense or the 1 production in the iron or the 2 production and the incense. Or if you have it with your army, you can steal someone's building, but not their combat bonus. You'd have to put it on a mountain. And if you were doing that to blue, why did the flag fall? Why is the rum gone? Oh dear. You get the idea. You would be not only blockading them from getting the 4 production, but if you had a scout on it, obviously to protect it because it's an automatic loss, scouts can't defend themselves, you're sending the 4 culture back to your city over here. As unpretty as this is, unpretty, ugly, disastrous. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know why you would ever do that. The fortification kind of makes sense, especially since you can't have a army figure in your city. That makes sense that you would do that. But other than that, the caravan doesn't really make sense. And I believe that's pretty much basically everything you need to know about this game. I already said what the things do. 2 relic markers. You get 2 coins for free at the start of the next turn. It says from the board, invest 2 coins for free. Oh, you have to invest them. Darn. I think, does the thing itself have... Actually, it shouldn't. Oh, it does. It has a gold coin on it after all. In addition to being able to invest 2 coins, which normally you would only invest 2. Or sorry, you'd only invest 1. Removes it from the board, invest 2 coins for free. So you could invest a 3rd coin, the coin you already had, in addition to the 2 coins this is giving you. So you get 3 investments that turn. So that could be a free technology. But Alanus, of course, just gives you a free technology. Confucius gives you the 2 great people. I see. And you don't give the other ones. Really? Okay. Let's make me click over here. Here we go. 2 free advances. Okay. I thought it was only 1. And then this gives you 2. Again, this game loves 2. 2 movement speed, 2 hand size, 2 stacking, 2 units, 2 spaces, 2 coins. It's a shame this doesn't give you 2 free technology. No, I'm kidding. Then, is that it? I'm pretty sure that that's it. There is no diplomatic victory. There is a science victory, a military victory, a economic victory, and a cultural victory. If you wanted to, I don't suppose there's anything stopping you from, if you control 3 of the 5 city-states, you could win a diplomatic victory. Or if you own 3 of the 5 for like 2 or 3 turns, but if you own all 5, then automatically you win. All of the tiles, all of the people, all of the cards. Beautiful. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.